feel like I'm in the twilight zone because we're in week 9 of this college football season. And the biggest game this weekend is a top 15 showdown between number 15 Missouri and number 10 Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt in the top 10, a game that holds massive college football playoff implications. I mean, this is unbelievable, but it is also what makes college football so great. This is what it's all about. This game is going to be epic. This game is going to be massive. The site of College Game Day, Nashville is going to be rocking. The question now is, will Vanderbilt continue their magical run, or will Missouri get their biggest win of this season, propel themselves into the top 10, and make their push for the college football playoff? We're going to break it all down right here at the Gridiron Expert. So welcome back, guys. So glad you could join us. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com. That's home to our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. We're beating out over 80% of the national handicappers have done so each of the last 6 years, and we'd love for you to take advantage of that now. Again, over on thegridironexpert.com. Become a member of our GE Nation and start winning big with us today. All right. Let's get into this. I mean, both these teams are very, very impressive. Both these teams have had very special seasons. And again, I say I feel like in the twilight zone because, I mean, you tell anybody in the preseason of this year, a couple years ago, whatever it may be, number one, that Vanderbilt's in the top 10. But number two, a game between Missouri and Vandy would have such big implications in the playoff, would affect the SEC in such a big way, people probably would have laughed at you. But yet here we are. Missouri has won 5 straight games in the series. That includes last year when they won 30-27 in double overtime? So Vanderbilt, they put themselves back on the map last year, not just with that Missouri loss, obviously, but with the win over Alabama, being competitive against Missouri, being competitive against LSU and Texas. And this year, Vanderbilt finally, winning those games, right? The Alabama game was big, but they're fresh off that top 10 win over LSU. They hung with Alabama. They went on the road and beat Virginia Tech, who I know who's not all that great. They went on the road and beat South Carolina, who's not all that great, but they're getting the quality wins, and if they can get past Missouri, the schedule lines up fairly well for them because Texas is beatable, Kentucky is beatable, Auburn's beatable, but that's besides the point. Got to get past Missouri first. Now look at this Tigers team. They're good. They deserve their top 15 ranking. They deserve to be talked about. And Missouri, I think, is going to get overshadowed a lot this week because people are going to be so focused on Vanderbilt, and people aren't going to talk about the fact that Missouri boasts the 7th-ranked rushing attack in the nation. The Tigers average nearly 245 rushing yards per game, led by Ahmad Hardy, who's rushed for over 840 yards and 11 touchdowns. I mean, he's been unbelievable. I mean, very well could crack the 1,000-yard marker by the end of Week 10, right? Yeah, I don't think he's going to rush for $160 against Vandy. I don't think that's going to happen. Hardy's slowing down a little bit, though. He's rushed for at least 100 yards in each of the first 5 games, but he's been held to under 60 rushing yards in each of the last 2 games against Alabama and Auburn. So that's going to be a big task for this Vanderbilt defense, is finding a way to shut him down and force quarterback Bo Pribula to win this game through the air. Because that's the biggest thing, right? Pribula's been good. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He's rushed alone for over 200 yards and 5 touchdowns. But as a passer, just mediocre, right? A little over 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's thrown at least 1 interception in each of his last 5 games with Missouri, including 2 against Auburn last week and 2 against Alabama the week prior. So he's got a bit of a streak going right now. 5 straight games with an interception. Not going to bode well, especially on the road now against Vanderbilt. If he throws another, because I think Vanderbilt would obviously take advantage of that. They're going to get some points off these turnovers. So Pribula has got to find a way to take better care of the football, and he's got to find a better way to just be a better passer. Because if this Vanderbilt defense shuts down the run and they contain him to the pocket, he's going to have to win the game through the air. He's going to have to find a way to deliver. And he hasn't really had to do that much this year because Missouri's been so good at running the football because they haven't really played in too many close games. Can he do that now, though, if it comes to that? Vanderbilt, meanwhile, offensively, look, they've got Diego Pavia. I mean, we all know about Diego Pavia. I feel like Vanderbilt's America's team. I feel like Diego Pavia is America's player. This is a team, though, that does like to run the football. Vanderbilt averages 213 rushing yards per game. Missouri ranks 7th in the nation in rushing yards per game. Vanderbilt ranks 21st in the nation in rushing yards per game. But I tell you, I do believe they do have the better quarterback in this game. I would take Diego Pavia over Bo Pribula every day of the week right now. Pavia over 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. He has rushed for over 430 yards and 4 touchdowns as well. Last week against LSU, he accounted for 246 of the 399 yards of offense that Vanderbilt put up. 246 of 399, had 3 touchdowns total against the Tigers. This is a guy that clearly, Every week we talk about Vanderbilt. It's like, stop Diego Pavia, force him to be a pocket passer, and he's a solid passer, an accurate passer, but no one seems to be able to do it, right? He just finds a way to win, finds a way to do the impossible. So I'm looking at this game for Vanderbilt. One thing that's been really impressive for me outside of that has also been their domination of time of possession. And that's going to be a key in this game too, right? This game, I think, is going to move fast. With the way both teams run the football, knowing both teams want to run the football, that clock's going to continue to run quite a bit, I would think. In Vanderbilt last week against LSU, they held the ball for over 36 minutes. So for over half the game, Vanderbilt possessed the ball. And I think they need to try to follow a similar recipe now against Missouri. Dominate the time of possession. Limit the amount of times that Missouri can possess the football. Because you know what? If you're running defense, it plays average, and you limit the amount of times Missouri touches the ball, to get down the field, to beat the clock, to get in the end zone, they're going to have to throw. Force them to throw. That might not always be just by shutting down the run. It could also be just by shutting down the amount of possessions they get. So time of possession is going to be key for Vanderbilt, and they're able to do that not from running the ball, but also from their third and fourth down efficiency, right? They are very good on third and fourth down, 50%. Last week they went 50% on third down against LSU, and on the season playing very well as well. 50% third and fourth down last week against LSU, season as a whole very well too. Keep the drives alive, keep Missouri off the field. That's what I'm doing if I'm Vanderbilt. Defensively for both of these teams, we'll kind of combine the two for a second. The key is stopping the run, right? It is stopping the run. It is not just stopping the running backs, but it's stopping the quarterbacks from running as well. Prabula has proven he can run. Pavia has proven he can run. Force both of these teams, if you're Missouri and Vandy, force your opponent to throw the football. You take a look at Missouri, they're 6th in the nation, giving up just 83.9 rushing yards per game, one of the best rushing defense in the country. Vanderbilt is 12th in the nation, giving up just 92 rushing yards per game. So both these teams don't allow their opponents to run very much on them, right? But I do want to look a little bit deeper into Missouri because those numbers are a tiny bit skewed. All right? Because you look at Auburn. They were fortunate to survive on the road last week in double overtime. They were outgained against the Tigers, and they allowed 150 rushing yards. The week prior, they lost to Alabama by 3, put up a solid fight. They were slightly, I think by like 1 yard, but still slightly outgained by Alabama, and they allowed 125 rushing yards to the Crimson Tide. They allowed 154 rushing yards in their opener to UCA, 117 to Louisiana. The reason Missouri's rushing numbers are so low right now is because in 3 of their games against Kansas, UMass, and South Carolina, in those 3 games combined, they allowed just 41 rushing yards. That was the difference maker. That's the reason the numbers are so low. UMass doesn't really count for much. South Carolina, Kansas, okay, fairly impressive. I think it was South Carolina. They held a -9 rushing yards. But again, Auburn, Bama, UCA, Louisiana, all at least 117 rushing yards in those games. And Vanderbilt is now one of the best rushing offenses they're going to see all year long and have seen all year long. So the numbers are a tiny bit skewed. Vanderbilt's rushing numbers are fairly solid, right? The most they've allowed all year was 146 against Alabama. 20 of those came on the touchdown with 17 seconds left, so really about 126 rushing yards against Bama. The secondary is my biggest concern for Vandy, right? The rushing defense really has been pretty solid all year long. Again, the most was all year with 146 against Alabama. But the secondary is concerning, right? They've been torched quite a bit. Torched against LSU, torched against Alabama. They've allowed some big plays in the back 7, right? They only forced 4 interceptions. Maybe they're able to snag one against Bo Prabula. I mean, 5 straight games with a pick. If he makes it 6, I do think Vanderbilt converts. And that's what the message Clark Lea's got to be sending to his team, right? Shut down the run. Do not allow Hardy to go crazy on you, right? Shut that down. Force Prabula to throw. Because if I'm Clark Lee, I'm saying he's going to make a mistake. We will force a mistake. We haven't forced many this year, but he will. And Bo Prabula is not Garrett Nussmeier, who's going to have a disappointing year. He is not Ty Simpson. So, if I'm Vanderbilt, I'm finding a way to limit the running game, to keep Prabula in the pocket and forcing him to throw. That's what you've got to do. So, the numbers are good for both of these teams. Missouri's numbers, a tiny bit skewed, but still a very strong defense, still a very talented team. Eli Drinkwitz has got this team playing at a high level. So, what's going to happen? Saturday afternoon, college game day in attendance, a historic game for this Vanderbilt program, but just as equally for Missouri, because remember, their schedule is not horrible the rest of the way. If you're Missouri, it's not horrendous. They win this game, they probably get close to the top 10, if not in it, and they should be viewed as a college football playoff team. At the end of the day, though, I've got to ride with the Commodores. I've got to go with Vanderbilt. This team it just feels different. They have looked dang near unstoppable. Diego Pavia has looked unstoppable. Clark Lee has completely changed the culture in Nashville. Once upon a time, he said people will see that Vanderbilt will be the best team in the country. We all laughed at him. Not laughing now. He has this team believing they can compete with anybody, anywhere, at any time. They have home field advantage. It's going to be a great, great crowd. Maybe the best crowd in Vanderbilt history. They've got the home field advantage. They've got the quarterback advantage. They've got the revenge factor in mind after narrowly beating or losing to Missouri last year. Should have beaten Missouri last year. All of it, to me, points towards a Vanderbilt win. Because the Commodores, again, this is not a fluke. Their top 10 ranking is not a fluke. Their performances against top teams are not a fluke. This team is legit. Give me Vanderbilt to win an absolute thriller in Nashville. The Commodores rise even higher into the top 10. They keep the dream alive. The playoff hopes stay alive for Vanderbilt. Missouri takes their second loss of the year, but their hopes not completely dashed so they can find a way to just win out. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Taking Vandy to win the game of the week on Saturday. A historic game, not just for Vanderbilt, but for the entire SEC. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com. That's home to our expert picks, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. Take advantage of those. Sign up today. Become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.